fight here, right? And obviously, bigger venue. What was it like to make that show? Just atmosphere-wise, audience-wise.
It was wild. It was an unbelievable experience. I mean, I felt like the guys that I grew up watching. You know, walking out into arena. You know, with the fans and walking through that tunnel. You can't explain it. If you've never done it, which 99.9% of people never have, it's indescribable. You know, and you're walking towards that ring, and you know, it's people are just so loud. It's so loud you can't even hear it. And yeah, it's just, I mean, I'm getting chills just talking about it, thinking about it now. That was one of the highlights of my life. Even just walking to that ring, you know, was incredible. And then to go out there and, you know, do what needed to be done.
Looking back at that fight, I watched most of it on YouTube the other day. You know, what do you remember about it? When it came down to judges, were you surprised that you won? Were you confident that you would win? What was your mind frame in those comments there?
There was a lot going through my head, you know, at the end of the fight. You know, the bell rang, and no matter what, as soon as the fight was over, I was happy with my performance. I was happy with you know, the night and how it went. And then when it came to get closer to kind of like things kind of settle down, think about the decision, I was like, I felt that I was confident that I had done enough to win the fight. I felt like I was winning the fight. I felt like I had won the fight, but I didn't think I was going to get the decision. So I felt I won the fight, didn't think I was going to get the decision. And as they're announcing the scores, you know, the first one was pretty wide. The second one, they said my name, and as soon as they said my name, I knew I won. As soon as I could tell, there was one judge that saw the things that I was doing, that I knew I was doing in there, that he knew that I was doing in there, then I knew that the eyes that were watching were keen enough to know that I won the fight.
Unless you win that fight, change your career, change your life?
Man, honestly, even though, you know, it's been a couple of years now, everything's been moving so fast. I haven't been able to like really sit down and think about it all. You know, but those are the moments that a fighter dreams of and trains for their entire lives. You know, so everything up until that point was preparing for that moment. And once you got to that place, you're in a whole new world. You're a whole different person. Your life is completely different. You know, so I didn't know how much it was going to change, but I knew my life had changed at that moment.
You talked about that fight being, you know, an opportunity for them to pass up. Pacquiao came after that. Is that kind of fit the same category?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, very, very similar. It was another one of those fights that came, and whether you're ready to go or not, it's time to go, and you got to figure it out. But I mean, that's anything. You know, you can always say that you need more time, but at the end of the day, you just got to make do with what you got and take the opportunity. Yeah, that was another thing. I mean, the build up to that fight. I don't call the Pacquiao experience a fight. I call it an experience, a Pacquiao experience, because everything that happened from literally the post-fight presser from Ruslan Bronic, it became the Pacquiao experience. Everything after that was the press tour and talking about that fight and the eyes and you know, just the worldwide view. And it was a tornado after that.
I have to run to the ring.
Okay. We'll keep going.
Yeah, keep going. Sorry, it's kind of awkward. I was slowly disappear as you guys keep talking.
Thank you. 4 of your last 5 fights have been here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's that been like for you? Kind of having, is it similar to Paramount, kind of become a home arena for you? Is that kind of feeling here too?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I always feel comfortable coming here. When I'm coming here for other fights, you know, I can't walk through the door without running into somebody to talk to. You know, it's that kind of familiarity here. It definitely has that kind of home feeling for me, even though we're in Brooklyn and it's, you know, a little bit far from Long Island, you know, by car. But I mean, it goes. You know, it's very similar each time. I'm back, and it's just that feeling. You know, walking down these halls, walking down these hallways, seeing my picture on the wall, and kind of remembering what it was like. You know, I feel like I was a kid when I was here for my press conference, my first fight. You know, and since then, and looking back, you know, it's an interesting feeling.
How old were you when you came for the first time?
It was only 2.5 years ago. So I just felt like I was a kid then. I wasn't as mature.
No, that's what I was.
You know, I was 30 years old.
Yeah, no, it's just interesting. That's why it caught me off guard. I was like, it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, I was 30 years old, but I was a kid in the sport. That's how I feel.
Makes sense.
It's been a year since your last fight. You are 33. What are your future plans?
I get back in that ring.
Yeah.
Get back in that ring. You know, I definitely needed some time off. Like I said, that whole whirlwind of experience, where I didn't really get a chance to think back yet. It's still kind of spinning, but that itch has never left me. You know, I know from a health standpoint, I needed some time. I needed to kind of right myself in terms of where I am in the sport from a business aspect, and now I'm just ready to get back to what got me here. You know, the hard work, the training, the consistency. You know, I need momentum, and that's what a lot of people don't understand about the sport. Is momentum can mean everything.
Let's talk about the sideline a little bit. Well, it's not a sideline, it's a big thing for you. Going back to Stony Brook, you were interested in nutrition science? That's what you majored in?
So I actually was interested in medicine.
Okay.
I was pre-medical in my undergraduate years and was planning on going to medical school. Honestly, boxing kept me from pursuing that immediately. I said I need more time, so that's why I decided to go out to graduate school and get my master's degree, give me a couple more years.
Okay.
So that kind of put things on hold. And it's funny how much timeline can change, you know, with the way things happen.
When did you get the national?
That was, I graduated in, what was it, 2011.
Okay, so you were fighting pretty much full time. How did the schoolwork kind of fit into your schedule?
It was, my Keith Trimble, my coach, he always talks about him driving me from sparring with Louis Collazo in Ozone Park in Queens. And, you know, we had a great sparring session, and, you know, we're jumping in the car and heading back to Long Island. And I break out my physics books. And I'm starting talking to him about, you know, equations, and really I'm just talking at him to kind of, you know, get my mind going and trying to go back into it and telling him about these equations that he doesn't need to know about or doesn't need to know anything about, but I'm just kind of shooting it off of him like bouncing a ball off a wall. But he always tells that story whenever we bring up what it was like, you know, with me being in school and